welcome Richard Thomson. Give it up. Right, research interviewer to surgeon. Do you discuss alternative surgical strategies with your patients? Surgeon: no. Most of my patients are far too stupid to understand a choice like that. I'm Richard, and my research is about how we involve patients in decisions about their treatment. That was an interview we did in a recent study, believe it or not. So what do we mean by involvement of patients in their treatment? We can think of it as a spectrum. At one end, paternalism. The doctor knows best, you do as you're told, no arguments. At the other end, informed decision-making. The doctor gives you all the information you could possibly want to know about all of the possible options, and you make the decision. And in the middle, the preferred model, shared decision-making. The doctor and the patient bring their expertise together and make the decision that's right for the patient. Okay, so what does that mean in practice? Let's imagine a patient with a bunion. What's a bunion, I hear you ask?
What's a bunion?
Thank you, I heard you the second time. Now, a bunion isn't a second-class onion. It's actually a bony growth right at the base of your big toe. And it's painful because it rubs against your shoes. And you can take pain relief, or you can avoid those sorts of shoes that cause the problem, like high heels. But ultimately, the only treatment you've got is surgery. Now, if you're squeamish, I suggest you close your eyes now. She did. This is what you do. You cut a slice above the bone. You then get out a chisel, and you chisel away all that unnecessary extra bone. Okay? The orthopaedic surgical toolbox is not dissimilar to the one that you've got in your garage, except with a little less rust and fewer cobwebs. So after you've chiselled away the bone, you then have to straighten the toe. Then you just drill a couple of holes in the side and you put some screws in. So that's it, fixed. 3 weeks on your back, 6 weeks, 12 weeks off work, 6 months you can't do any sport. So minor operation really. Giving up high heels or having that operation. I can see that's an easier decision for some people in the room than others. I found it really difficult, but that's another story. So let's imagine that the patient's going to see their doctor to get their bunion fixed. Now, surgeon A is the paternalistic surgeon. Well, Mrs. Lane, we need to just amputate your leg above the knee. It's very straightforward, you'll be back on your foot in no time at all. No, don't argue with me. Remember who's got the scalpel. Oh, and between now and the operation, if you spend a few minutes a day hopping on the other leg, that'll strengthen it and help with your balance afterwards. Now, second surgeon believes in informed decision making. Right, Mr. Hopper. There are lots of things we can do. It's utterly your choice. I'm just here to tell you what they are. Nothing to do with me, not my decision. I'll do it for you, but your decision. So what are the decisions? So, first decision. Do you want to have it done at home or in hospital? I mean, if you've got a good carpenter, I can provide a manual. And, you know, we don't like to bring people into hospital unnecessarily nowadays. Dangerous places. All those infections and so forth. But if you want to come into hospital and want me to do it, I'll do it for you. It'll be in a theatre, a bit like this. Cleanish. Maybe a slightly more sober audience. Maybe. And then the next decision, of course, is what operation do you want? We can cut it off above the knee, below the knee, above the ankle, or just lop off the big toe. So that's your decision. I'll give you this leaflet to take home. Single page, A4, plain English. And when it says suprageno in toto amputari, that means simply cut it off above the knee. Anything else you're not sure about, Google it. And come back in a fortnight and tell me what you want and we'll do it. Informed decision making. Then you've got surgeon C. He's been told he should do shared decision making. Well, Mrs. Lame, you've come to the right person. I'm the world expert in these operations. I've done thousands of them. Always successful. I've trained in the best centres of the world, Harvard Medical Centre, London School of Carpentry. And there are several things we can do, and of course we need to decide what's right for you. Apparently that's called shared decision making. It's all the rage now. Anyway, in my expert opinion, I think what we should do is cut the leg off below the knee. But, you know, you need to go away and think about it. So here's a surgical textbook. Take it home, read it carefully from cover to cover, discuss it with your family and friends, and then come back in a couple of weeks and tell me exactly why operating by cutting you off below the knee is the right thing to do. And, on the way out, see my nurse. She's got one of those indelible pens. She can draw that mark just below your knee where we're going to cut it off. Okay, so those are 3 different types of consultations, and I think probably you'll agree that they could all be slightly better than that. What was wrong with them? Well, nobody asked the patient what was important to them, what mattered to them. And actually, nobody examined the patient. Why is that important? Well, there's another type of Bunyan. John Bunyan, 17th century writer and Puritan priest. Now, as you might imagine, having John Bunyan on the edge of your foot is a completely different proposition. You can't deal with that with different footwear. So let's imagine a surgeon who really does share decision making. Well, Mrs. Smith Bunyan, I've examined you and your bunion. You're very fit. He's not bad for 400 years old. A bit decayed at the edge, but his mind's still sharp. So, and you've told me what this means to you, living with this bunion. You've become quite attached to him, and he to you. But he does tend to press the accelerator when you're driving, and your insurance has rocketed. And when you're in the pub with your mates, he criticises what you do, and it's embarrassing and awkward. And I understand your husband's left you, because he thinks you've become a bit too close to the bunion. And I know you've not decided yet whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you need to think about that. On the other hand, you become quite a celebrity. You get invited to all those international conferences, religious debates, first-class international travel, fees for appearance, front page of Hello magazine. So I can see that it's a slightly different, difficult decision for you. So what are the options? Okay, well, we can obviously keep the bunion as it is and probably make it a bit more comfortable for you, send him on a driving test perhaps. Or we could get an acerbic literary critic or a rampant atheist to destroy the bunion. Don't underestimate the power of words. Or we could just tie off the blood supply. Now, admittedly, that would be a slow, painful, agonising, decaying death for the bunion. But, shut up, bunion. No, it's not your decision. Yes, painful, slow death, but we can give you excellent end-of-life care. Most people like to die at home nowadays. And it'll give you both time to come to terms with his impending mortality. On the other hand, we could just cut the bunion... No, shut up, bunion, it really isn't your decision. We could just cut the bunion off. Sudden death, that's it. Anyway, difficult decision. What I suggest is you go home, you think about it, come back in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk through what the best option for you is. Okay, so what have we learned? For problems, there are often several treatments and they have different pros and cons. It's important that the doctor knows what's important to you to make the right decision for you. It's also important that you're clear in communicating with your doctor. So let me give you one final example. If you've got earache and you go to your doctor, say, "I've got earache." Don't say, "You've got a pain in your ear." Thank you.